It's Wednesday, October 28th, and this is Now on HNN.
Important strides to revive our economy and get people back to work.
Hawaii will welcome Japanese visitors back with pre-travel testing next month.
Keep it to the locals only at this time.
With the return of tourism, some East Maui residents want the road to Hana closed to visitors again.
Step up your precautions.
Coronavirus cases continue a dangerous climb in the U.S. I'm Chris Martinez with where the cases are surging.
I try to see how it's looking, how big it's going to be, how strong it's going to be.
Another hurricane is making its way towards Louisiana. I'm Danya Backus in New Orleans with the latest on Hurricane Zeta.
These stories plus what's being done on Oahu to prevent large crowds this Halloween. That's coming up on This Is Now. What's up, everyone? Jonathan and Ashley coming to you from the HNN Digital Center on this Wednesday. We've got a lot of news to get to. We're going to start with those latest coronavirus numbers being reported by the state.
State health officials are reporting 62 new COVID-19 infections today. 41 are on Oahu, 7 on Lanai, 5 on the Big Island, 2 on Maui, 1 on Kauai, and 6 out of state. Lanai education officials say as of 5 p.m. yesterday, there have been a total of 30 infections at Lanai High and Elementary School. They say all the cases there so far have been students and no staff have been infected at this time. DOH is also removing 2 COVID deaths from the statewide count after receiving updated information. Meanwhile, November 6th is the date set for Japanese tourists to come to Hawaii without quarantine as long as they test negative for COVID before their flight. Casey Lund is in Waikiki with a look at how this is expected to help get the economy back on track.
The first flights into Hawaii will be on November 6th, and tourism experts tell us because there's still a quarantine for travelers going back to Japan, this will be a slow and gradual build. We talked to John DeFries, president and CEO of HTA, this morning on Sunrise.
We expect it to be gradual, but let's look at last year when we had 1.5 million visitors from Japan and expenditures at roughly 2.2 billion. And it's too early, I believe, to be looking at those expenditures. What I'm looking at this morning are the number of calls the clinical labs in Japan are receiving. And that'll give us a sense of whether there's the adequate lift capacity, which we believe there is. But those are the immediate indicators I'm looking at and the industry is looking at.
And we were lucky enough to spend our morning here at the Moana Surf Rider. Their plan is to welcome back guests starting November 1st. But I talked to the general manager, Mike Charchinsky, about what the decision to welcome back Japanese tourists to Hawaii will mean for the hotel.
We're ready, number one. And then on top of that, we have to listen to all the protocols for our island and for the state and nationally to make sure that we're safe and prepared for our guests and for the local community. That's most important.
Finally, we also learned a little bit about what those incoming tourists can expect here in Waikiki. We talked to Rick Egid from the Waikiki Improvement Association about a project to replenish the sand here, starting at the groin down by the Royal Hawaiian Hotel.
That protects the sand along this beach. And then one of the things we're doing is this fall, we're going to do a second sand replenishment. We're going to bring 20,000 cubic yards of sand in from offshore. We describe it as recycling the sand. Okay. So you can see the beach here out in front of us, and that'll go out about 20 feet.
Beginning with that November 6th date, there will only be about 10 flights per day coming to Hawaii from Japan, with plans in December to add more routes from places like Tokyo, Osaka, and Haneda. Reporting in Waikiki, I'm Casey Lund for This Is Now.
An incoming flight from Chicago was briefly held at DKI after a passenger told a flight attendant they had COVID-19. The health department says the passenger took the test before boarding United Airlines Flight 219, but only learned the result after landing at Honolulu's airport. That person was taken to the CDC's screening area, then sent directly to their lodging to quarantine. Nearby passengers were also screened and set up for contact tracing. The state's policy does allow exempt travelers to come without a COVID test, and non-exempt travelers can fly here while waiting for their results.
Hawaii County's mayor has said a recent spike in COVID-19 cases is the result of community spread and not the reopening of trans-Pacific or inter-island travel. Hawaii Public Radio reports that Mayor Harry Kim is aware of concerns among residents that coronavirus cases may have been transmitted by incoming travelers, but he says that is not the case. Kim says the rise in reported cases is also a result of the county's enhanced coronavirus testing strategy, including targeted testing in multi-family housing complexes. Meanwhile, visitors are returning to East Maui, and that's spurring mixed emotions along the Hana highway. Businesses need the customers, but some residents say they need them to leave. Chelsea Davis has both sides.
Some East Maui residents say they've seen an influx in traffic and trash along the road to Hana since the relaunch of Hawaii's tourism industry on October 15th. But some small business owners say tourists helps the economy, so it's all about finding balance. A traffic jam on the Hana Highway. Jan Elliott snapped this photo last Thursday, a week after Hawaii's tourism relaunch. She says the school bus driver had to get out and direct traffic to make enough room to pass. And that's not all.
The big red flag right now is restrooms available for our visitors. There's evidence of people pulling over on the side of the road, going wherever they need to go. The road to Hana is very long.
52 miles long with 56 one-lane bridges and over 600 curves. The road is famous for its scenery. The highway was closed to non-residents from March until July. After that, community volunteers set up their own checkpoints. Keanai resident Kamalani Pahukua says since tourism restarted, trash has been piling up. She and others want the county to restrict access again.
Keep it to the locals only at this time, which they did really well during the first months of the pandemic.
But the mayor says the highway will stay open. That's welcome news for Neil Hasegawa, whose general store saw sales drop by 30% in the summer.
People got to understand that, we need the tourists in terms of income, but we also got to protect ourselves in every way we can, so that we don't have the same thing happening on Lanai, happening here in Hana. Again, with the caveat of being safe and respectful.
A community both dependent on tourism and resistant to crowds. The mayor says all he can do for now is get more bathrooms open.
I am also working with the State Department of Transportation and their DLNR, see if there's any possibility of us maybe opening one, and maybe the county using some CARES Act, get some of our personnel to help them.
According to state and county reports, there have only been one confirmed COVID case in Hana, and that was back in April. Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Hawaiian Airlines had an even rougher summer than expected. Howard Dykes explains.
Hawaiian lost $97 million. It missed forecasts on both revenue and per-share earnings. And for the current fall quarter, Hawaiian projects capacity down 70% from last year. Hawaiian cut its workforce a third, losing 2,400 workers to voluntary and involuntary departures. That will improve the bottom line and help save the airline, but heighten economic pain in the islands. Central Pacific summer profit came in just under $7 million. That's $3 million less than spring, less than half of the profit in the summer of last year. Counter-revolution at Locations, the real estate brokerage. Jason Lazzarini is back as CEO just 2 months after leaving, rehired by a new board. Out are the interim president, the COO, the CFO, and 2 partners. Adventures in Marketing, Royal Hawaiian Center is giving stuff away, including $100 gift cards. The promotion runs for the next 4 weeks.
Mayor Caldwell is asking hotels to prevent large crowds this Halloween. He sent a letter to 47 general managers asking them to abide by social distancing rules. He also cautioned anyone considering throwing a costume party.
And is it worth the sacrifice of having one fun night in a costume for weeks, if not months, of both health sickness and economic sickness? I say no, so please be careful. Please don't be tempted. And remind your friends who are inviting people over for a party more than 5 what the outcoming results could be.
The U.S. just recorded its worst week for new cases since the pandemic began, with more than 500,000 new COVID-19 infections. Chris Martinez has more.
Scenes like this in Los Angeles are throwing a shadow over the Dodgers World Series victory. Fans without masks celebrating the team's first title since 1988. There was drama on the field, too, when third baseman Justin Turner received word during the game he tested positive for the coronavirus.
He had 2 positive tests. I mean, obviously, Major League Baseball is going to have some explaining to do.
After leaving the game, Turner returned later to celebrate, removing his mask for photos. It was the second championship for LA this month, coming just 2 weeks after the Lakers clinched the NBA Finals. Those celebrations coincided with a spike in cases.
As of this week, Los Angeles has recorded more than 300,000 total infections. And across the country, nearly every state is now reporting cases are on the rise.
The U.S. just recorded its worst week since the pandemic began, adding 500,000 new infections to the list. An average of 805 people are dying each day, up from 714 2 weeks ago. El Paso, Texas imposed a 10 p.m. curfew. Chicago banned indoor dining. And in parts of Virginia, hospitals are close to capacity.
The spread in Southwest is driven in part by small family gatherings. I strongly urge everyone in the Southwest to look at these numbers and step up your precautions.
A member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force says the nation is at another critical point. Admiral Brett Giroir is urging Americans to keep wearing masks and practice social distancing. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Now to developing severe weather. New Orleans is preparing for a possible direct hit from Hurricane Zeta. We got Danya Bacchus with the very latest developments on this still growing storm.
Video from the International Space Station showed Hurricane Zeta barreling toward Louisiana. Down below, New Orleans residents made a last-minute dash to stock up supplies.
Got water, batteries, flashlights, we're good to go.
Crews across the state prepped massive sandbags, installed rock dams on freeways, and pre-positioned drainage pumps. Officials urged everyone to make a plan.
This is not a drill.
Zeta is the 27th named storm of a very busy Atlantic hurricane season. This year, Louisiana has already been hit by 2 tropical storms and 2 hurricanes. Many are bracing for Zeta like they did the other storms.
Most of the time I ride it out, I try to see how it's looking, how big it's going to be, how strong it's going to be.
Residents admit they have storm fatigue.
I'm sick of it. I'm starting to feel like somebody is messing with the weather so that they can have a marketing tool for us to keep buying everything.
It's not the rain or flooding that worry people most about this storm. It's the life-threatening wind gust and storm surge.
It's going to be a rough evening for Louisiana, particularly in the southeastern portion. I am confident that we are well prepared for this storm.
Workers closed one of the last floodgates surrounding New Orleans, where a pump system failure raised flood risks. But officials hope the fast-moving nature of this hurricane will lessen that threat. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, New Orleans.
Certainly a story we will be bringing you the very latest on today at First at 4. I do want to show you this live picture coming into the digital center. This is a live video feed. This is from our New Orleans sister station. And you can see, I was just looking a moment ago, the rain sort of is picking up. There was a good wind gust there. We're going to keep watching this shot and see what they find as the storm nears the coastline there. So look for the latest in our later editions of HNN. Now let's take it to outside. This is our weather. Way different there, Ashley. Looking beautiful today. We've had some gray days too. Let's see how long it is going to last. Here is Billy V, who's in for Guy.
Aloha, happy Wednesday. I'm Billy B sitting in for Guy Hoggy. Let's give you your weather forecast. We'll start with the surf first. Your biggest surf is up on the North Shore, but it's on the way down 3 to 5 feet, and the rest of the island is down to 1 to 3. Let's also go ahead and show you the latest on the radar. Over the last couple of hours, we had rain showers mostly over the island of Oahu, but however, let's give you a better look here. We've got some thunderstorms over to the north and over to the west of us that is moving in the general direction of Oahu. Kauai will get avoid some of those showers as well. Once again, there is a flash flood watch in effect for the islands of Niihau, Oahu, and Kauai. This is due to the fact that due to the accumulation of rain and groundwater, basically the ground is saturated because of the last couple of days of rain. Any heavy rainfall could mean possible ground flooding. So use some caution today. And once again, those showers that you see just off of the west side of Oahu here, those should be impacting probably Oahu sometime this afternoon. Let's go ahead and take a look at the county by county forecast. Of course, Kauai and Oahu, possibly heavy rain and thunderstorms. Partly cloudy with light winds for the Maui County Islands, and then for Hawaii Island, partly sunny, but they're going to get some rain showers as a lot of that moisture gets pulled up from the south. So your 7-day forecast there on the left-hand side, and that shows you that the rain showers will be here all the way through the weekend. Trade winds are not due back until next week, Wednesday. As always, get the latest on air, online, on your mobile device, and at HawaiiNewsNow.com.
The world's biggest tech executives are on Capitol Hill today in the latest showdown with Congress. Liz McLaughlin reports.
You can tell the American people what reporting they can hear. Is that right?
Senate Republicans escalating charges of anti-conservative bias today in the latest showdown between Congress and big tech.
Let me be clear. We approach our work without political bias. Full stop.
A Senate subcommittee hearing that left CEOs Sundar Pichai of Google, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, and Jack Dorsey of Twitter defending how they moderate content on their platforms.
Sometimes the best approach from a safety or security perspective isn't the best for privacy or free expression.
Republicans saying the companies unfairly remove or restrict conservative thought on their respective platforms.
Google, Facebook, and Twitter are not the referees over our democracy,
including content from President Trump.
We saw the confusion it might encourage.
But Democrats questioned the political motivation behind the timing of the hearing.
The idea that we should have a sober hearing about putting the reins on big tech 6 days before the election, quite frankly, doesn't pass the smell test.
The tech companies say quick action and beefed-up moderation policies are necessary in the wake of a global pandemic and historical election.
You have two scenarios with a lot of clear misinformation and very, very high stakes, sometimes life or death.
A fine line tech companies will continue to tread, with Election Day less than a week away. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
All right, let's see what else the internet is talking about today. You know, Reebok is out with some scary new footwear. Let me show it to you now. I like these. These are inspired by a certain film franchise. Any guesses? Any guesses? Sort of hard to tell.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Okay.
I guess it's the, what do they use? They don't use photon torpedoes. That's Star Trek. They use some other sort of laser device. That was what was hooked up on the back. I really like the brown ones. I guess those are the classic leather. That's what they're called. The other one's called Ghost Smashers.
Okay.
Yeah. They'll be available online Halloween night. They sell for $100 each for the leather ones, and Ghost Smashers are $150. I would rock those. I think they break really easily, the first ones, but I like the brown leather ones.
Yeah. And you guys, Toys R Us is bringing back an old favorite to help you find the perfect present for your kids. So the retailer relaunched its annual Jeffrey's Hot Toy List, which names the top 20 hottest toys of the year. Now the list includes popular brands you would expect to see, such as Barbie, Hot Wheels, and Lego, while there were also some standouts, like a toy of everyone's favorite fictional baby, Baby Yoda from Star Wars and The Mandalorian.
Jeffrey the giraffe.
Yeah,
I forgot
Jeffrey?
about him. Those commercials, oh man, they'll stick in your head.
And guys, McDonald's started selling pastries today. That's right. So the apple fritter, blueberry muffin, and cinnamon roll joined its McCafe bakery lineup. The sweets are available all day, and they are the first bakery items added to McDonald's core menu in over 8 years.
I remember back in the day there being a cinnamon roll, and it is delicious if it's the same one I remember as a kid.
I don't remember a cinnamon roll.
Maybe it was a Midwest regional thing, because in Illinois we had biscuits and gravy too.
Okay.
And catfish. So everyone has a regional menu, right? We have some very special things here
too.
Some
Spam and Portuguese sausage. And Whitney Houston, you guys, made history. She is the 3rd Diamond certified album artist. So that means her sophomore album entitled Whitney, released in 1987, reached impressive diamond status. That one had I Wanna Dance with Somebody and So Emotional. Houston's other diamond albums included her 1985 self-titled debut album and the soundtrack to her 1992 movie The Bodyguard. So next week, Whitney is also going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 2020 class.
You know, she's one of my favorites.
She's awesome.
We talk about Whitney a lot here. You guys, we're also talking about this a lot. It's time to tell you what the prizes are for our big Halloween costume contest. Here we go. You only have till tonight to enter, so listen up. Here's what you could win. Our top three winners will win a $100 gift card to LA Gas, a $50 e-gift card to Diamond Bakery, a $50 gift card to Honolulu Burger Company, and 2 tickets provided to Wet n Wild.
Wow.
Those are some pretty good prizes there. Again, you only have tonight to enter on our H&N digital platforms, and here are some of those who have already entered. Look at these cuties.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We've got a baby Joker, a baby Ariel, the Little Mermaid, and that Addams family is... It's up there on my choices. We're going to pick the finalists tonight, Ashley. Then you vote on Instagram over the next 24 hours. The winners announced on our special 1-year anniversary show here at This Is Now.
How many entries have we had so far?
Oh, hundreds.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think yesterday it was over 200. So it's some stiff competition, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad we're doing it.
Not too late to enter, you guys. You still have one more day, so do it to get a chance at all those prizes. And this is a Jim Mendoza classic story. So the COVID crisis disrupted operations at Hawaii's humane societies and shelters. Well, to get more cats and dogs adopted, hundreds of those animals are being flown to the mainland, and hopefully they'll find their forever homes. Here's Jim.
Buddy. Hawaiian Humane Society is saying goodbye to Cyrus. Tomorrow, he and scores of other animals from shelters across the state will fly to the mainland in a mass movement of canines and cats.
We have a lot of pets. We looked at age, we just looked at general overall health, we looked at temperament. I mean, there are some obvious restrictions from breed restrictions in some places.
Mainland organizations Greater Good Charities and Wings of Rescue call the airlift Paws Across the Pacific. It's meant to free up space and resources in Hawaii pet shelters so they can take in more at-risk animals.
We've moved animals like this before, but no one's ever done it on a big plane all at once before.
Working with the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, more than 600 dogs and cats from across the state will board a large chartered aircraft in what's being called the biggest animal airlift rescue in history.
Hawaiian Humane Society is contributing more than 100 animals to this airlift, and the vast majority of them are cats.
The flight will land in Seattle, where the animals will be sent to pet shelters in Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, where they will be adopted.
The reality is there's so much demand that we think within a few days most of our pets will be happily in homes.
Greater Good Charities has been working on the plan for months.
All of the equipment that needed to come to Hawaii in order for those animals to be safely transported back had to get here way ahead of time for planning's sake.
Besides getting Cyrus and other dogs and cats into homes, Paws Across the Pacific has given Greater Good a blueprint for future animal emergencies. Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
And the LA Dodgers are your 2020 World Champions, and it's a day Dodgers fans have been waiting for 32 years. Fans like our colleague Daniel Nunes, who took off work to watch the World Series. No, he didn't fly to the mainland, you guys, to watch it. He just took off and watched it at home. This photo was taken 12 years ago. You can see how excited he was. He posted it online as part of his celebration.
I was wondering why his desk was empty
There's his
this
empty
week.
cubicle.
You go, Daniel. You did it. You did it. I have a lot of friends that have been watching that series. Very entertaining. You guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. Kurt Caldwell, press conference coming up this afternoon in regards to Halloween and how we should celebrate. You guys have a safe night.